Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the last video, we have discussed about the basics of the Nyquist contour and the Nyquist stability. In order to determine the stability of the closed loop system with the help of the open loop system using the Nyquist criteria, first thing is to consider a contour in S domain which will cover entire right half S plane. So this contour is selected which will cover the entire half S plane. It is a semicircle of infinite radius. So if you consider the infinite radius, it means it will cover the whole S plane. But as we discussed in the last video, the poles of the open loop system should not be at the contour which is selected in the S domain or in S plane. So if there is some pole at the origin, so you will consider a very small circle over here to avoid that pole. So now if you are going to consider a closed path in the S plane, so you will get a closed path in the GH plane. So how to transfer your transfer function in the GH plane? You have this contour, you have different selected points at this contour. You will use those points and you will solve this g of s, h of s for that value of the s, and then you will represent it in terms of the real and the imaginary part. Then by plotting the real and the imaginary part, you will get the GH plane representation of this closed path which is considered in S plane. So if it is a closed path, you will get the closed path in the GH plane. And we have discussed that if this is a closed path in the S plane, so GH plane will be a closed path, and if that contour, that path that is in the GH plane encircles -1 and 0 point in the clockwise direction, it means the 0 of the characteristic equation is in the right half plane, and 0 of the characteristic equation means the pole of the closed loop system is in the right half plane. So that system will be unstable. So in order to look at the stability, the encirclement about -1 and 0 will be considered. If the system is stable, then there will be no encirclement in the clockwise direction of this point. Okay, so what we are going to do, we are going to consider the entire right half plane, so that you can look at this contour. So first part of this contour is from here to here, and at this the omega is going to vary from 0 to infinity, right? And then we will move over this circle, a circle of the infinite radius whose equation is this one, limit that r is approaching to infinity applied over this part r into e raised power j theta. This is the equation of the circle, and in this the theta is varied from plus pi by 2 to minus pi by 2. So this is the range of the theta for this semicircle. After covering this semicircle, reaching to this point, now the omega will be varied from minus infinity to the 0. So we will be having this part of the contour, right? And if there is a pole at the origin, we will consider a very small circle whose equation is this one, and applying that, the radius is very small, applying the limit. So we will get this equation for this small circle, and now we are going to traverse this one in the clockwise direction. So angle variation will be from minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. So this will be our contour. So we have divided it into, we can divide this contour into some parts. First part is this one, S1, representing when the variation of omega is from 0 to infinity. Then the second part is this one, represented as S2, right? It is representing the infinite radius semicircle. Then the third part is when the omega is varied from minus infinity to 0, that is the third part, S3. And then the fourth part is this one, a small circle, right, whose radius is approaching to the 0. So this is the fourth part. So we have divided this contour in the 4 parts, and for these parts we will see the corresponding representation in the GH plane. So let's consider an example. Consider this transfer function g of s h of s that is equal to 1 over s into s plus 1 into 2s plus 1. So the type of the system is 1 because we have the 1 pole at the origin, and if you look at the total order of this system, so it's a third order system because when multiplied you will get the maximum power of 3 for the s in this denominator. Okay, so first of all we are going to find out the sinusoidal transfer function. So s will be replaced with j omega. So replacing this s with j omega, we are going to get this transfer function. So we can find out the magnitude of this one, the magnitude of this open loop transfer function. So the magnitude of j omega is omega, magnitude of this part is 1 plus omega square, and the magnitude of this part is 1 plus 4 omega square under root. Okay, so the phase of this open loop transfer function can be written like that. The phase of this part is minus 90 degree, the phase of this part is tangent inverse of omega, and when it will go up in the numerator it will be the negative 1. Okay, and the phase of this part is tangent inverse of 2 omega by 1, that is 2 omega. So this is the phase equation for this one. So you can represent this transfer function in terms of the real and the imaginary part. So r plus ji, you can also decompose into the real and the imaginary part, and you can use those components to plot the to sketch the GH plane representation, right? So now let's look at that. If the omega is equal to 0, then if you look at this equation, let's suppose this is m magnitude, so magnitude will be infinite, and for this value of the omega, if you look at the phase equation, you will see that the phase is going to be minus 90 degree, right? So this is going to become 0, this part, and this part is going to become 0. So these two will be 0, so your phase is minus 90 degree when the omega is equal to 0. And when you move towards the infinity, when your frequency increases, so your magnitude from this equation will be approaching to 0, and from this equation this will be approaching to 90 degree, this will be approaching to 90 degree, so your total phase will be equal to minus 270 degree. So if I sketch the polar plot of that one, that is basically the plot of the real and the imaginary component. Okay, so real along the x-axis and the imaginary along the y-axis. So either we take the magnitude or we consider in the x real and the imaginary part. So our polar plot will look like this. So when the frequency is 0, omega is equal to 0, our magnitude is infinite. So very large magnitude, infinite magnitude, that is over here, and as the omega will be increasing, right, so the magnitude will be decreasing, and finally when the omega is approaching to infinity, our magnitude will be approaching to 0. So it is simply the polar plot that we have already discussed in our previous videos, right? So at omega is equal to 0, the angle is minus 90 degree, right? And when the omega is approaching to infinity, the angle is going to become minus 270 degree. So this angle is minus 270 degree. So this is the polar plot when the frequency is varied from 0 to the infinity. That is basically this part of the contour. When you are going to vary from omega from 0 to infinity, so you will get this part. Now we need to look at this portion, that if the variation is over this circle, and then we will see from minus infinity to infinity, and then the variation over this circle. Okay, so if the frequency is varied from 0 to infinity, we have simply the polar plot that we have already discussed in the previous videos. So for first portion of the contour that is selected in the S plane, we have this plot. Okay, now the second portion, that is basically a semicircle. So the equation of the semicircle is this one. It's an infinite semicircle, and in this the theta is going to vary from pi by 2 to minus pi by 2. So what we are going to do, we are going to consider that S is equal to this part. All the points will be considered from this semicircle. So we will be taking all of these points which are over the semicircle, and we are going to place them in the sinusoidal transfer function, and then we are going to observe that what we get in the GH plane. Okay, so now we have substituted the value of S in the given open loop transfer function. So open loop transfer function is 1 over S 1 plus S into 1 plus 2S. So in this transfer function we are going to replace S with R e raised power j theta, right, and then we are going to simplify this one. So this is going to become 1 by R cube into e raised power j 3 theta, and as R is approaching to the infinity, so this will be approaching to the 0. So how to represent that one? It is simply a point with 0 magnitude, that is the origin in the GH plane. So the S2 will be represented by simply a point at the origin. For S1, the first section of your contour, you have this representation, and for the second section of your contour, you have just a dot at the origin, right? So let's look at this one. We explored GH plane for this portion, and then for the semicircle, the representation in the GH plane is simply a dot at the origin, right? Okay, now let's move toward this part of the contour that is marked as S3, in which the frequency is varied from minus infinity to 0. So now let's look at that part. Okay, so that is the third portion. Okay, so what it will be? It will be the mirror image of your S1, because you are just changing the sign of the frequency. In this we have varied from 0 to infinity, and then you are going to vary from minus infinity to 0. So that will be the mirror image of this one. So for section 3, for third part of the contour, the representation in the GH plane will be like this. This is for S3, the contour, third part of the contour in the S plane. Okay, so you are just going to replace S with minus j omega, because j omega is going to be varied from minus infinity to 0. So GH can be represented like that, and it is nothing, just the conjugate of your S1, the first part of your GH path for S1 contour in the S plane, right? So S1, for S1 we have this one, but over here you can see all of these are negative, so it is the conjugate of that one, right? So what do you mean by that one? Let's suppose that if you have a point 2 plus 3j over here, so its conjugate will be over here. So it is basically the mirror image, right, along the across the real axis, right? So you are going to take the mirror image of the contour of the representation of S1 to get the representation of S3 in the GH plane, right? So S3 is the mirror image of the polar plot of S1, because S3 is the conjugate of S1. So mirror image about the real axis. Okay, now let's go back and look at this graph. Which part is left? We have considered this part, we have considered this semicircle, we have considered S3. The only part which is left, that is this small semicircle close to the origin. So now we will be taking different points of S defined by this equation. We will place it in the G of S, H of S, or in the sinusoidal transfer function, and we will evaluate this transfer function for those small values of the S, and we will see how we can represent it in the GH plane. Okay, so now for S4, if I go over here, so in the given transfer function, that is 1 over let me write over here, 1 over S into 1 plus S into 1 plus 2S. So what we are going to do, we are going to replace S with R into e raised power j theta. So here you can see all S are replaced with this one, and what is the limit that r is approaching to the 0, right? This is a very small circle, so with the limit, so if you apply this limit, so finally we can write it like that, that it is 1 by r. This will be, if this is approaching to 0, this is going to become nearly 0, so this is 1 and this is 1, so 1 into that e 1 by r into e raised power j theta, and over it the limit is that r is approaching to 0. So as r is approaching to 0, so 1 by r will be approaching to infinity, and radius of the circle which is selected for the second part of the contour, that is infinite. So we can represent it with the capital R, right, and this can be written as e raised to minus j theta, and this r now can be represented in terms of capital R, that is the radius of the bigger semicircle covering the entire right half S plane. So we can also write it like this, where r is equal to 1 by r, and now the minus theta will be varied from pi by 2 to minus pi by 2. Okay, so or if we look at for the theta, theta will be varied from minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. So clockwise semicircle of infinite radius, that is this r, and now how to get the complete Nyquist plot? We know that if we have a closed path in the S plane, we should have the closed path in the GH plane. So we will be combining it like that, because we are traversing it like that, right? So we will be getting basically a closed path in the GH plane. We should get the closed path, and that closed path is this one. We are starting from 0, omega equal to 0, moving toward the infinity, and then from infinity we have the we are moving like that, that is from minus infinity to 0. Okay, and then over this cycle. So we will be combining these 2 points, and these two, because we must get the closed loop path in the GH plane if we have the closed contour in the S plane. So finally the Nyquist plot for this transfer function will be this one. So for the first part of the contour selected in the S domain, when varying the frequency from 0 to infinity, we have this part. This is for S1, and for S2 it is just a point at the origin, and then for the third part from 0 towards infinity, right, the mirror image of this one, and then this one. This is defining this is necessary for the closed path, because we know that the closed path in the S plane gives us the closed path in the GH plane, right? So it will be as you can see, if you look at the direction of traversal, we are traversing it in the clockwise direction, right? So this infinite circle basically will be in the always in the clockwise direction, and this is for S4. Why we are taking this one? If you look at this part, we are basically sketching this representation for the fourth section of the contour, that was a small circle close to the origin. So we are going to represent it like this one. So in this, if r is approaching to infinity, we have the point in the GH plane that is infinite, right? And as we are moving over this circle, so we are saying that we will get infinite circle, infinitely large circle over here, right? It is from the fourth part of the contour that is taken in the S domain. So S4 is the Nyquist plot should be a closed loop. So that's why we have considered this one, infinite circle joining that one, joining these 2 points. So this is the Nyquist plot representing that one. Now I have not shown where is the -1 and 0 point. So the critical point will be the -1 and 0. If you want to look at the closed loop stability, so you will have to look at -1 and 0. If this Nyquist plot encircles, if you look at the encirclement of that one, if this -1 and 0 comes somewhere inside, let's suppose that it is at this point -1 and 0. So what you have? You have the clockwise encirclement of this point. It means the 0 of the characteristic equation is in the right half plane, and 0 of the characteristic equation means the pole of the closed loop system, that is in the right half plane, so that will be unstable if the encirclement is like this. But if this -1 and 0 is outside this contour, this path which is in the GH plane, right, in the polar plane, so then your 0 is not in the right half plane, 0 of the characteristic equation, and it means the pole of the closed loop system will not be in the right half plane, so your system will be stable. So looking at the encirclement around -1 and 0, you can define the stability. You can look at the stability of the closed loop system. Okay, now how easily you can get the Nyquist plot? I have discussed the whole procedure, but if you get the polar plot of your open loop transfer function g of s into h of s, so first of all sketch that one, then take the mirror image of this polar plot, and then combine these endpoints with the help of the infinitely large circle, right, in the direction of the encirclement over here that you can observe. This was being traversed in this direction, so in this direction we will traverse over the infinitely large circle, right. So directly you can draw the Nyquist plot. How? First of all, draw the polar plot for the frequency 0 to infinity, right. Then take the mirror image of that plot, and then infinite semicircle. That depends upon the type of the system. For this particular example, we have the type equal to 1, because there was only one pole at the origin. We have only one circle, a very big large circle, as we discussed in this section S4, that small path over here across the close to the origin will be mapped as a very large infinite circle in the GH plane. So we will be having a circle of infinite radius if we have type equal to 1. Let's conclude this video. What we have done, we have discussed the procedure in which the contour is selected in the S domain, and then we have seen how we can represent our transfer function in the GH plane, and then we have seen that how we can look at the stability of the system and how we can plot the Nyquist plot. You will have to divide your contour in the S plane in small parts, and then for each part you will have to look at the representation in the GH plane, and then you can sketch the Nyquist plot, right. So Nyquist plot should be a closed loop, because you are selecting the closed path in the S plane. So that's all from this video. In the next video we will discuss the examples, detailed examples for determining the stability with the help of the Nyquist criteria. Thank you very much.